Well, hello, friends, neighbors. John, your whiskey neighbor here. Welcome down the basement. It's Sunday, and I finally have a sample. So thanks, Andy, for meeting me the other day and giving me a few samples to share. And this is a unique sample because Andy has a friend who had an older bottle of Glenfiddich 15, the Solera Reserve. Could be, late 90s, probably no, it's probably, early 2000s, but it's definitely old enough to be a dusty in my book. So he gave me a sample, I've poured it in here, and then I picked up a fresh bottle of the absolute current Glenfiddich 15, and I'm gonna nose and taste and say, is there a difference? Why don't you pour a little bit of Glenfiddich if you have, or a nice fruity Space Side, and enjoy the ride. 3, 4. Thanks for staying with me. I'm always interested in how has whiskey changed over the years. Now, this isn't wildly old. Like I said, it's probably maybe a 15-year-old bottle, that kind of thing. So, it's not like we're going back 20, 30 years. I love watching those videos. But this is, Glenfiddich Solera Reserve, but a significantly older bottling of that 15-year. And this I have here, and I just like holding bottles, so I'm going to show it to you. But this is the very latest Glenfiddich, right? So this is 15 years, and it is aged in ex-bourbon, ex-sherry, and a little bit of new oak, which is quite interesting. But one of the special things for Glenfiddich 15 Solera is that Solera vatting process. I'm sure you're aware, but I'll just say, that's when, before they bottle it, they empty the cask that they're going to use. They find, the blend of the single malts they're going to do. Remember, it is a single malt because it comes from one distillery, but it's always a variety of casks. And they put it in a big vat that already has that blend from previous years. And then when they drain it to bottle, they never drain it away. So there's this big oak Solera vat that always has some of this Glenfiddich 15. So it's a small percent, but as they release it every year, there's always a little bit of older. I mean, there could be a little bit of 20-year-old in here. There could be a little bit of, I don't know how long they've had that vat going, but the point is there's always a little bit of older whiskey going into this 15. So I think Solera vatting is just really, really cool. And even though this is 40% and likely colored and chill filtered, and anybody from Glenfiddich, if you're listening, I really like this bottle. If you could just figure out how to release it, like even just as a special, why don't you release it unchill filtered and see how we like it? Put it up to 40, 46 would be lovely, but even 43, give it a little more hug, give us those oils. That would be cool. So you probably, if you click the intro and you tuned in, you're looking for a comparison with has it changed. So this is just my thoughts. I just poured out this sample from Andy. Andy, you're a gentleman for meeting me and sharing some of your whiskey goodness. We'll see if this changes. So on the nose, the older bottling of Glenfiddich 15. Surprisingly, still bright and fruity. It's light fruits, stone fruits, right? So we've got a little bit of peach, pear, apricot. I know pear isn't a stone fruit. I'm just saying, a little apricot, a little peach. Sweetness like honeys, sweetness like, yeah. Nice, sweet, and fruity. Let's try the current, just cracked yesterday, Solera Reserve. Well, in this comparison, it has a little more tartness, a little more cinnamons, or maybe not cinnamon, maybe ginger, some kind of spice. Just back and forth here, a little bit more spicing and a little bit of souring, which I like in the Solera Reserve. It just takes those fruits and puts an edge to it, like almost just an edge of lemon or something like that. All right, let's try it on the palate. Hope you have something to join along. Sancha. No, it actually coats okay in the mouth. It definitely brings up those barley sugars now very quickly. Now I've got a little bit of spicing, edge of tongue, edge of palate, right? A little bit of peppering. I don't have a lot of cinnamons in here, maybe a little ginger, but just stays pretty close. Now we're really into cut apple, cut pear territory. This is a nice dram. There's a little bit of bitterness here. Don't know where that's coming from. A little bit of like, sometimes I get it in really old oak. And I know the bottle, it's been in bottle. It's not been aging longer. Whiskey doesn't age longer once it's hit glass, but there's something a little bit bitter in that. The fresh Solera Reserve. Yeah, edge of blackberry or something out there that's giving it a bit of tartness, like a tart berry. Clean, more baking spices. Finishes up a little clean. Actually, the finish is a little bit quick. I was hoping for a little more finish. It's kind of delightful nose and palate, but it ends a little quick. One more quick comparison. I'll give you my thoughts on this Dusty. Actually, I went back and forth a few times there. The differences here are less than I expected. I've had the privilege of having some 30, 40-year-old Dusties, and they often are very different than current releases. This is surprisingly similar, far more similar than I expected. And in this sitting, I often prefer Dusties. I don't know what it is. Could be the nostalgia, could be. But in this sitting, actually, this just opened Glenfiddich is a very good whiskey. I found that the spice palette is a little deeper. The fruits have some little extra souring dimension that I appreciate. And this one, it's a good whiskey. I enjoy it. It certainly isn't flat. It's got flavor. It's got fruit. But there's a little more bitterness and a little more muted spice palette, and it doesn't have that sourness on the fruit. So in this sitting, I love having the opportunity, but I'm actually happy that I got this. And sure enough, it's on sale at Wine and Beyond. It's pretty much the only way I buy whiskey these days. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for indulging me with trying to have a side-by-side. If you have an older expression of a more common core release like the Glenfiddich 15, why don't you share your thoughts down below? What have you found? Is the older one richer? Has it lost something with time? Let me know, because it's something that I wish I could do more of, but I just don't know, have enough friends with really old bottles of whiskey. Thanks again for tuning in this Sunday. Thanks, Andy, for meeting me and restocking my sample shelves. You're a gentleman. You guys take care.